Today I'm going to teach you guys how to do a weaving on a stick. Now this project is going to kind of take our weaving game to the next level because we've already done a lot of weaving projects over the years. We've done weavings with paper, we've done weavings on a cardboard loom with yarn, and doing a stick weaving is a little bit similar, but it's a little more of a challenge because you have to be more of a problem solver. Here's the reason why. All of our sticks are not going to be the same. So with your special unique stick, you're going to come across different challenges that other people might not have. And you're going to have to figure out on your own how to solve those challenges. Now the great news is you will definitely be able to solve it because really any idea that you choose is going to be fine. It's your artwork. It's going to be created the way you want it to be. So whatever choice you make is going to be great. Now I'm going to show you a couple ideas about getting started with threading up your warp string on the stick, and then you'll be ready to start yours today. Now we have been talking about collecting a stick, and so I found one on the ground in my neighborhood. I didn't take it out of anyone's yard. I just found it kind of in a park near my house. And it has a fork in it. That means that it sort of has a Y shape right here. Now mine is a little bit too big, so you could use clippers if your parents have big yard clippers, but I didn't do that, so I'm just going to be really careful in snapping the extra part of the stick off. And it's kind of up to you where you're going to snap it. Maybe I want to leave a little bit of some of these extra twigs, or maybe I don't. That's going to be sort of your choice. Then I'm going to need some white string. We're going to start off with a table's length of string. We'll talk about how to measure that out. And then if you need more, you can always get more later. So when you are putting on your warp string, obviously you can tell that the string needs to go in the fork right here. So the secret trick is you need to start near the bottom of the fork, not up at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie my string on near the bottom of the fork. So just one side of my very long string is going to get tied on. So try not to tangle up the other long side. So I'm just going to loop it under, creating a twisty, and then pull that twisty really tight. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. Create an X, or kind of a loop right here where it X's, and then put that short end through the loop and pull. The more times you do that step, the stronger your knot is going to be. And if you have a different kind of knot that you tie, that's fine. You don't have to do a square knot. That's just kind of the one that I'm used to, and I think that it holds on pretty well. Now that we have it tied on, we're going to wrap it around the stick so that basically it goes back and forth across this forked area. Now some of my perfectionists are going to maybe think this is challenging because they think, oh, it's not even, it's not straight. But I have learned from doing this project that you have to be a little bit flexible. That means if yours doesn't look like your neighbor's, it's okay. If it doesn't look like how it should in your mind, that's okay. You have to be flexible. You have to come up with plan B. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see how I start this. Okay, so my string is on the left side of the fork right now, and I'm just going to bring it over, and it's a little tricky maybe because it's long, so make sure you don't tangle it. I'm going to bring it over, and I'm going to, actually I'm going to bring my knot over to this side, I think. There we go. I'm going to wrap it around the right side. Maybe just once or twice. It's honestly up to you. Okay, so I've wrapped it around once, and then I'm going to bring it back over to the other side. And then I'm going to wrap it around just above where my knot was. Wrap it around once or twice. You could wrap it around 3 times, really. There's, like I said, not really a right or wrong way to do this. Okay, so now I've wrapped it around that side. Now I'm going to bring it across again and wrap it around on the right side just a little bit above the last one that I did. And then bring it across again. Wrap it around and bring it across. And I'm just kind of moving up my stick. Now, a couple things that I want you to think about as you're doing this. You want your strings to be pretty tight. We talked about that on other weaving projects. If your warp strings are loose, it is a little bit more challenging to weave on. But with this project, you also have to be kind of gentle, because if you wrap these strings too tight and pull too much, guess what happens? Your stick can break. So it's kind of a tricky little balance that you have to have of getting it to where they're not super loose, but also not pulling too tight. I've had some students ask if they can bring a backup stick, bring more than one, and I think that's a great idea. I mean, there's sticks all over the place. There's no reason why you can't have a backup. Or maybe you want to do it at home too. I mean, this is kind of an art project that is almost free to make. You just find stuff in your yard. Okay, so I'm just going to keep on wrapping this string around the stick and back and forth. If I wrap this one around 3 times and my other ones were only 2, I'm not going to freak out. That doesn't matter at all. All that matters is that you're getting some strings back and forth in this forked area. Now I'm stopping here because I've kind of run into a little bit of a situation. My string is about used up. Now I have some choices. I could just make my weaving this size, but I really want to use up my whole entire stick. So it looks like I'm going to need some more string. Once again, I have some choices. I could get another piece of string and tie it on to the end of this one to make it longer, but I'm going to do a different idea, and I'm actually going to tie this one off to the stick and then tie my new string onto the stick as well. So that means that I'm going to have to make kind of a loop. And this is a little tricky because as I tie this knot, I don't want to let go of the string so that it becomes loose. So I'm going to, actually kind of a good way to do this I've learned is if you wrap it around a bunch of times first, that will kind of keep it tight. Okay, so I wrapped it around a bunch, and now I'm going to try to tie a knot by going under, keeping it tight, and then I'm going to go under again and through that hole I created. I'm just going to do that a bunch of times. Sometimes if you're not sure about a knot, just crisscrossing and twisting and putting it through holes and stuff will eventually create a knot that will stay. Okay, so now I've got this one tied off. I can go back and get a new piece of string, tie it onto my stick, just like I did at the very beginning, and keep going. So now I have my weaving all the way up to the top. I'll be honest with you, this is the second time I did it. The first time I messed up because I pulled that top part in too much up here, and it made all my other strings get really loose. So when you're getting up towards the top part, be extra careful that you're not pulling that string too tight, because it will make really loose all your strings down here. So anyway, I tried hard not to do that on the second time. If they're a little loose, that's okay. I just kind of scooch them back to where they're supposed to go. No big deal at all. But if they get really loose, then it's going to be kind of challenging. Now when I'm done, I'm just going to wrap this around a bunch of times to kind of hold its place for me so it doesn't become loose. And then I'm going to tie it. So I'm going to create a loop, put that through the loop, and pull. I'm going to do that a bunch of times until I'm sure that string isn't going to come off. I think I'm going to do it 3 times. Now when you're done, you can cut off all your extra strings. Got my scissors here. I can cut off this loose part. And then we're ready to go to the yarn cart to get a colorful string.